But we couldn't get to it last night. Ended up getting in at a pretty decent hour, but could not get the thing rolling. By the time I got home, it was already after 10 o'clock, and it was just kind of one of those things. Gone all weekend, was a little bit dragging butt, so wanted to do it this morning. Not as fun doing it with a cup of coffee as opposed to a beer, but got myself a little Go Team Snoopy Woodstock mug. I think I had it last week on Believe that my daughter got for me, so going to enjoy some Lavazza Super Crema with all of you this morning. Thanks for checking in. It was great to meet a handful of you out there. That was fun. So thanks to everyone. I remember a couple names, I think, or maybe I don't. There were quite a few of you, but I got to take some photos, and it was great. I know Jason, I remember I met at the hotel before we made our way over there. So one thing that was cool is, I say it all the time, Bolt fam is traveling. So I think just about every single section that we looked at, you could see some powder blue. It certainly wasn't a MetLife takeover, but great showing. So way to go, folks. I had a great weekend. I hope you all enjoyed the weekend. For those of you that made the trip, went out to the Ryder Cup on Saturday. That was incredible, even though they played like absolute crap. At least they rallied yesterday. And now the Chargers try to bounce back. It's one game. So here's the positive, right? You're through the first quarter of the season. I remember Anthony Lynn and I having this conversation. He talked about how important it was. We had that first chunk of the season, his first year, 2017, 0-4. We went to MetLife to face the Giants, 2-0-4 teams. And Chargers end up winning. He's like, look, we go 4-0 in the second quarter, and now we're 4-4 and feeling better about ourselves. And remember that year, he ended up finishing 9-8, missed out on the playoffs via a tiebreaker. So first quarter of the season, fantastic. I mean, is it an A+? No. 4-0 would have been an A+, but it's a pretty solid grade when you're 3-0 in the division, 3-1 overall. You exit the first quarter in first place in the AFC West with tiebreakers as it stands over each and every team. And you got a second quarter of the season that you feel pretty good about. I think you would say you get the tougher games are at home, right? You get the Colts and you get the Commanders at home. You travel to Miami and you travel to, or we get Minnesota at home. That's right. So you get Minnesota, Indianapolis, Washington at home, and Miami. Only one road game this month in the second quarter of the season. So feel pretty good about that. And see if you can go 3-1 again. If then you're 6-2, you're on pace for 12 to 13 wins. That's usually enough to win a division. That's still all right in front of you. I'll just probably dig into the questions sooner than later, because I know when there's losses, people tend to be a little bit more upset and want to engage and are demanding answers and all that sort of stuff. So just quickly, my overview, summary, observation, it was ugly from the jump. It was just ugly from the jump. It was a sloppy game. I think the 10 a.m. got to them. Last year it didn't. You go through last year, I brought this point up on the pregame, and you go through the games last year, and 10 a.m. kick Carolina, Pittsburgh, I don't count because Herbert's leg was destroyed from that high ankle. You had Cleveland 10 a.m., 27-10. You had Atlanta 10 a.m., 17-13 win. You had New England 10 a.m., 40-7 victory. So it didn't get them last year, but it felt like it this year, man. It just felt like a team that was flat from the jump. It was sloppy. Like, think about this team came into the game as, I think they were fifth in penalties. They only had 15 penalties for 107 yards, and they leave this game with 14 penalties for 107 yards. So you're playing clean games that you got to play clean against division opponents early. Focus wasn't there. Procedural penalties, like that's when it's just sloppy. It's just, your offsides penalties, giving the Giants free plays, a free 5 yards on a first down where you had to try to get them off the field on that first 3 and out. They couldn't do it. And certainly that 1st and 5 helped on that Troy Dye offsides. You had false starts. You had 2 special teams penalties. You had a bad punt. You had a questionable return when you've got 30 seconds to play with and Tarheeb's ripping 12 seconds off the clock to get a 4-yard gain. I think there was just some of that just was, and look, this is so the question is, like, what do you want to buy into, right? The first 3 games and 14 or 15 penalties for 107 yards, or this one game and 15 penalties for 107 yards. I'm more apt to look at the first 3 games in their totality as opposed to this one game. There were some I think head scratchers. I don't know why they were playing with such a light box on that first drive. I think they had to know that Dart was going to be running the ball and Scadaboo was going to be running the ball and it was going to be quick game. And at the same time, it's almost like you outthink yourself. You're like, okay, well, I know what this should look like. It's RPOs, it's handoffs, it's pull and run, and it's just quick hitters, right? Do not let Dart get hit, get shaken up, maybe lead to an early turnover and get this thing off the rails. But they were playing with light boxes, and I mean, they were gashing them on that first drive. If you just go through the play-by-play of that first drive for the Giants, it's a 5-yard run, and then, a bad penalty on the defense, on the DPI, that's 14 yards. Then you got 2-yard run, quick pass to Neighbors on that. He broke off that route in front of Cam Hart. You got a 4-yard run, a 16-yard run, a 9-yard. So how about this? They go 4, 16, 9, 4. Run. And it was easy yards. And then that set up the 13-yard pass to Dart on the RPO, from Dart to Neighbors on the RPO. And then when I say Dart didn't get touched on that touchdown run, he literally did not get touched. It's pretty hard to go 15 yards and not get touched once. And yet he did. So I think, they made the adjustment a little bit after that first drive. At the same time, I still felt like there were a lot of light boxes out there. And especially after Malik Neighbors went down, it's like, I know Slayton's fast. I know Wan'Dale Robinson's fast, but I'll take my chances. I'd rather load it up and shut down that run and force Dart to work through some mud to try to complete those passes. And it just felt like they weren't doing that till later. I mean, if I'm going through, I got the offensive summary up right now. Let me go through the defensive summary, and I want that big. So Naquan, 20 snaps, Caldwell, 29 snaps, Boygby, 27 snaps. Caleb had 26. They basically kind of split it. Caleb Murphy had 26. They were playing with just two bigs, it felt like, instead of that three, that pack of three where it's Caldwell, Hand, and Jones, or Caldwell with Elijah as one of the ends. It just felt like that was maybe the better alignment. And I just, Thule had a sensational game. I mean, he played out of his mind. And yet still, you got 2 interceptions inside the 5-yard line that lead to 11 points, and you're not going to win a game like that. Offensive line, you're down Slater, we know that. Then you go down, so Joe Alt, as I go back to the offense, so this is kind of what you're looking at, right? So in that game, you have got Joe Alt only played, what did he play? 8 snaps, 8 pass protection snaps. And of those 8 pass protection snaps, he allowed 0 pressures. Austin Deculus came in for 40, so he's got 5 times the snaps as Joe Alt, 6 pressures, 3 quarterback hits. You got Jamari Sawyer in there for Mekhi Becton, 5 pressures, 2 hits, and a sack. Bradley Bozeman had his hands full with Dexter Lawrence all day. A center with 4 pressures, 3 hurries, a quarterback hit. Trey, 4 pressures. Zion, a pressure and a quarterback hit. And, it's a tough way to win a game. And at the same time, and so, like, when I see that, I'm like, okay, let's go back to the box score. And then you look and you see Marion Hampton's got 12 carries. Justin Herbert's got 1 run for 24 yards on a scramble drill that he picks up the first down, and you're under that much duress. You're getting hit that much. It just felt like you really could have, and we're going to finish this coffee, so let's get a sip. It felt like you just could have run the ball more. And this is a team going in that had given up, let me get this here. Let me see what it was. I want to say 153 rushing yards per game is what the Giants were coming in at. They were bottom 5 in the league because those guys want to get upfield. They are pass rushers. It's not necessarily, Brian Burns is not setting the edge. Look, he's a heck of a player, and I'd freaking love to have him on the team, no question about that. But, he's a pass rusher. And when you go into this game and you see they're allowing 153.3 yards per game, 31st in the league, 400 yards per game, 31st in the league. Like, I think that's one where missed opportunity for the Chargers to run. I mean, Tucker Fisk is one of the best run blocking tight ends out there. And I felt like I didn't see him at all. He played 13 snaps. So I think it was, and because look, that's what's been working, right? Herbert's been cutting people to ribbons. So I get it, and then I think like that's the thing about this game, right? It's not one thing. It's not play calling. It's not personnel. It's not just the penalties. It's like, just think about that first drive. I mean, when have we ever seen Ladd drop passes like that? On that third down, you convert that third down, he's taken that thing another 20 yards at least. You're in field goal range, and maybe you just pick it up, you score that touchdown. Now they're behind 7-0. Next drive, dropped on the sideline. So it was just kind of, everything was wonky and weird. And so I think that's kind of the takeaway for me is you got sloppiness on the both sides, I think it was 6 penalties each side and 2 on special teams. You got some questionable, like you got a punt. JK's punts has been exceptional this year, and his first couple were great. Has that weird shank out of bounds that gives them the ball at the 45-yard line of the Chargers. And meanwhile, you back them up, and Gillen is punting out of the back of the end zone and has to have a quick operation, and somehow he gets a 65-yard punt with like a 5-yard return on that. So I think it was just kind of a weird game where it all got away from him. The second interception was just crazy, right? It's like, I'm going back to look at it right now as I'm talking. I thought it was pass interference on the Giants because the way Ladd went down, I haven't watched it yet, so sorry. I'm going to do this right now. Yeah, it wasn't. He just, like, Conklin, like, stalls out and picks his own man. It was really weird. And as Ladd fell down, that ball was already, I'm trying to see where Ladd falls. Like, yeah, that ball is out of Herbert's hand as Ladd falls, thinking that he had a step on Phillips, and instead it goes right to him. Like, just weird stuff like that happened. So I know I typically talk, and you know what? That first interception of Dexter Lawrence, man, talk about Herbert, freaking heart of a champion. The fact that he chased Dexter Lawrence down and turned that thing from a touchdown into a 3 points, that was exceptional, and that's like, I'm watching it right now. Herbert ends up chasing that guy down, clipping him, so they have to start at the 2, and they end up having to settle for 3. That's such a huge play. And then, like I said, just that second one was so weird. So anyway, let's get to you, the people. Here we go. All the way back to the beginning. Thanks so much for joining, everybody. Wow, we got a lot of folks in here, or a lot of questions. All right. To the people, good to see you, sir. Tough loss. You too, Max. Appreciate that. If I saw you out in New York, it was great to meet you. I met quite a few people. Tough loss. Will be all right. There you go, Realtor. Realtor Ed. Ed, I like I said, 3-1. You want to take the 3? You want to take the 1? Important to bounce back after the 1. I still believe this is, they gave up, 8-3. They gave up 11 points in a game they lost 21-18 on 2 drives that started inside the Charger 5-yard line. It's going to be hard to win those games. Hoping Herbert uses his legs. Yeah, I'm with you. Wife bought me the same mug. There you go, Julian. Your wife's got good taste. So I like Snoopy. It's not holding the heat that well, though, I'll be honest. Yesterday stunk. All. What's the update? I don't know. Sherry, I hate projecting injuries just because I have no idea. But, he came back. He was in the locker room for a while. Came back out, shorts, T-shirt, and a walking boot. So I'm hoping that means it's just ankle and not knee. But the way he got rolled up, it looked like, kind of both got twisted. So that's my big hope. Is it just an ankle? And might it be, a few weeks instead of more than that? Drink Chapman crafted coffee and bridge the beer coffee gap. Yeah, just a little early. Got a 3-hour show today. So ugly loss, still 3-1. Alt didn't ever see exactly. And again, you're going into that game against Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, with Trey Pipkins, not Joe Alt. Jamari Sawyer, not Mekhi Becton. Bradley Bozeman, Zion Johnson, Austin Deculus, not Joe Alt. Or I should say Rashawn Slater. Like, not easy. not easy. And the Commanders, by the way, got a really good interior line. So that's something they're going to have to figure out. And I think, because one thing the Giants did is they were like, we're not buying the play action. They did not bite one bit. And that's why it was kind of like, okay, you're going to have to run this ball. And with the way Amarian was running, I think they got to start running the ball a little bit more because teams are not going to bite on that play action like they were. So with Amarian's 54-yard run, that's going to help them a lot. But I would let's get Tucker Fisk out there. Let's block the snot out of it and get these 4 and 5 yard carries going. And I think for them, if they feel like Kamani and Haskins got almost, they didn't get any snaps. So it's kind of like, if you don't want to put too much of a workload on Amarian, then you got to go out and sign someone. If you're not comfortable giving the ball to Hassan Haskins or Kamani Vidal, you're going to have to go out and sign somebody if you're worried about too much of a workload. But Amarian should be getting more carries, and this running game needs to kind of, get teams to back off when it comes to that play action, because, man, the Giants pass rushers, their ears were pinned back. 3 hard wins. Giants had better take plan now going home with a sting. We can get it right. How do you lose to the Giants? Look, teams are good, man. How do the Packers lose to the Browns? It happens. These are NFL players, man. They're all good any given week. And, that's just the reality of it. So think about the opening week when Daniel Jones, I don't remember who it was that they played, but carved up, Miami. Everyone's like, how the heck did Miami lose that bad to the Colts? Well, the Colts are good. They got NFL players, So it was a sloppy game. To be honest with you, Miracle, how did they lose? It was sloppy. They committed 14 penalties for 107 yards. Could not get out of their own way. And it just, on all 3 phases, it was sloppy. It was a 10 a.m. game Pacific time that looked like a 10 a.m. Pacific time. Worst game I've seen played from this coach. I don't know. Like Lorenzo, I think it's just like it was really out of character. It was a very out of character game. The Bucs blitzed them last year, right? They just came in and, man, that was gnarly. That was a rough one to watch. Just how easily that offense was moving up and down the field against them. And then you think about the Houston game and how much pressure Herbert was under and 4 interceptions and the fact they couldn't run the ball at all. Nobody could catch a pass save Ladd. That was ugly as well. So there have been a few, but that's why this is just stuff that can be corrected. You can't have 14 penalties. Not for a team that had 15 through 3 weeks. It can be such an anomaly compared to the other Harbaugh games. Comes down to coaching. Result be so negative. Yeah, I think sloppiness. That's it, Caleb. You got to be buttoned up. You give a team opportunities and free plays and free yards and PIs and offsides and holding calls on runs that instead of gaining 5 yards, you're now looking at 1st and 20. Rub routes on Tyler Conklin where he pops his rear into Ladd. So you get the offensive PI and you knock your own guy down. That leads to it's just sloppy. It comes down to, tightening things up and executing. Fix this O-line. Wyatt, instead of calling for faster passes, I think it's just run the ball, man. Look at Amari and Hampton. Did you see, that Amari and Hampton run when it was a third and 1? And he ends up getting, let's see, let me find it here. It is a 3rd and 1, third quarter. He gets hit at the line of scrimmage, and he ends up shaking off 2 Giants. I'm watching him. He's carrying 2 guys, 21, and is that a Karake? He gets hit. This ball is at the, where is it? Chargers 14-yard line. I'm going to hit play. Sorry you're not watching. He gets hit for the first time at the 13-yard line. Okay, he's got to make it to the 15. One-on-one with, let's see who this is. One-on-one with Paulson Adebo. Solid corner. And Adebo tries to get low, and he can't. And Amarian just lifts him up off the ground, pushes him for the first down. In comes Javon Holland, Pro Bowl safety. Or actually, no, that's not Holland. Before that, Kayvon Thibodeau, 6'5", 258 yards. In comes Kayvon Thibodeau, hits Amarian, spins off of that, still carrying Adebo. In comes Javon Holland, Pro Bowl safety, 6'1", 207. that's pretty funny, actually. I'm looking at Herbert. Thibodeau's next to him. Holland's now trying to make the tackle. 3 guys that played together at Oregon. And a Stanford guy in Debo. Miss the Pac-12? I do. And now Amarian is at the 21-yard line when he has got both Debo and Holland. That is a combined 200 or 400 pounds, combined 400 pounds. And he is now carrying both those guys to the 25, to the 28, to the 31, to the 32-yard line before Darius Muasa tackles him. More of that. That's what I'd like to see. More of that. Just because then guys can't pin their ears back. Then they really have to honor play action. Penalties, turnovers, exactly. Alt status, don't know. I mentioned that, Tom. Not going to speculate. We'll just have to wait. But I'm hoping because he was just in a boot, was able to kind of walk around, that it's just the ankle. Grace at my Manhattan hotel wearing my Chargers shirt, getting in here for, hey, let him celebrate. It was a big win, and it was very exciting. Like you saw the 2 snaps that Russell Wilson took. Man, wish we had him out there. They were a disaster. And Jackson Dart's strong. He can run. Thoughts on bringing back Frank Smith? No, look, I think you got to look at the combination, right, of personnel. So, what does this look like if Joe Alt, Mekhi Becton, and Rashawn Slater are out there? And Zion Johnson's been playing really well this season. So, what does that look like? And I love Nick Hardwick. I know Coach Dev. I don't know him real well. I know Nick. I've known him forever. We used to call games together. So I know Nick's a hell of a coach, and I got a lot of faith in him. So if Dev and he are working together, then I got faith in that coaching staff for sure. Tarheeb returning kicks instead of KLS. Yeah, well, Keandre never returned kicks. And Tarheeb has. So I'm guessing they just wanted that sure-handedness. It's like, hey, we just can't turn the ball over. And the sun out there was brutal. Just kind of the positioning of the sun was really hard if you were looking back, from where we were looking down, the way the game was being called, to the right. So I think it would be to the... Yeah, I think it would be kind of almost southeast is where you were pointing. And it was brutal. So I think they just wanted sure hands back there. Agree with the first 3 games. Dan, not 100%. See us getting through the time period with Alt. Exactly. I think, how do you do it without Alt? I think help. I want to see more Tucker Fisk out there. And hopefully Will Dissly. Will Dissly's out of this game as well. He's essentially an extension of your offensive line. So that's crushing. He's one of the best blocking tight ends in the league. So it's just kind of like these injuries have piled up when you've got these really good defensive lines. Denver, New York, Washington, those are all really, really good defensive lines. And then you're going to go to Miami, and you got Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb. There's just no let up with that position group and trying to find some sort of advantage there. I'm not tripping about the D at all. I'm just saying clean it up, in terms of a penalty situation. Michael, I think the thing with Jackson Dart, for the Giants fans, you said you're in the stands and they were all excited about it. Yeah, look. He had that opening drive was great. The one thing I think he did was, in the gotta have it plays, he got them. He was this is a team that came in as a top 5, I think. Let's see. Chargers coming in were 11th on third down, allowing 35% conversion rate. The Giants came in second to last on offense, 27.5%. And in this game, Jackson Dart and that Giants team converted 7 of 15, nearly 50%. So I think it's those sort of things that you look at when you're trying to get this team off the field, and you can't. Whether they're running for the first down or he's just dumping off into the soft spot of that zone, tripping about how we're going to move the ball. They'll move the ball. They just got to run it more. Alan, appreciate you checking in. Make a move for a pass rusher. The problem is you're going to be able to find a pass rusher, Lorenzo. You're not going to be able. The pass rushers are always available. They always get moved at the deadline. O-line is really hard because there are not a lot of guys. So it's just, that's why, like I said, you get Dissly, Fisk out there, run the ball more. So let's kind of just get that rolling. Short fields, playing with the lead all game. Exactly. It was just, piled up and got on top of them. I don't know, Nomi, why they didn't run the ball more. I don't know. I think I would have. I think, instead of just pass, they had a couple 3-and-outs where they didn't even try to run the ball once. So I would have probably done that, but who knows? It's, we don't know what they know. Shirt, Soapy, this is a Cowboy Bebop shirt. See you, Space Cowboy. Is what this one is. One of my favorite shows ever. Let's see. Performance put G-Ro. No, God, no. I mean, Greg Roman's been calling fantastic offense this year. And again, he's trying to call plays with, think about it. He's trying to call plays with 4/5 of his offensive line gone. So, not easy. We were talking about that, Alan, about Herbert using his legs. What do we got? Second interception was rough. It was a pick play, and Tyler Conklin picked his own guy. I agree. Look, those picks are tough, man. They both started. Appreciate that, Hefe. They both started in their own, Chargers, inside the Chargers 5-yard line. Reality check. Stick with the same O-line. I mean, I don't know what they can do, to be honest with you. I don't know who there's, do they go to Foster Sorrell? Is it Branson Taylor? It's going to have to be somebody that's on their team. There's really not going to be anybody out there, I don't think. Let's see what else we got. Bolts do about the O-line. I think there's a lot of that now. I did catch some waves today. It was really fun out there. I appreciate that, Roger. Bummed I missed the weekend. It was Narna delivered, and I got a little bit of a tail end here. Jamari Sawyer at left tackle now. I mean, who knows? It was rough, though. It's been rough for 2 games now. Assuming Becton doesn't pick up something else. Yeah, no, I'm hoping that, you can kick Becton out to tackle if you want to. Of course, that's what he was drafted as. The awake thing, C.H. Prince, is possible. Let's see, back-to-back penalties. Yes, those penalties were rough, man. Sam Hack, first place on the longboard, exactly Howard, and my man Mark Lugenbrühl won the old man division that I would have competed against him in as well. So my man Scott Meyer won the Masters division, so congratulations to him. They ran the Seal Beach Surfing Championships this weekend, and unfortunately I was out of town, or else I would have won everything, of course. Next couple of winnable games with the current O-line. I think so, yeah. Look, when Herbert's healthy, I think he can do anything. I think he can win any game. So that's the key. And he's healthy right now. I think anybody that's been released is going to be looked at. Dan Skipper, whoever it might be. What else we got? Cheers, money, go Bears. Big win for them yesterday. Love to see that. Block kick against the Raiders. That was awesome. Sun was brutal on TV. Yeah, it was tough, man. Just joined. Beverage of the day is Lavazza Super Crema. Probably wrap this up here, guys and gals. Appreciate you. Jaden Daniels confirmed to start next week. I don't know. I think it'll depend. Yep, I'm with you. Hampton needs more touches. Isaiah Wynn's still out there. He's been on 50 teams. No, not bringing back Storm. I can't see that. Thoughts on the DBs? I thought they played all right. All right, all. Appreciate y'all. Next week, let's get back to the winning ways, right? Bob, see you just checked in. I'm getting out right now, but I'll see you there. Bob is my spotter, so I'll see you up at SoFi. Browns traded for Cam Robinson. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you can trade for someone, but what are you getting? So, all right, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. And hopefully next week when you do this, it will definitely be on Sunday night. It'll be with a beer. And hopefully we'll be celebrating a win and the Chargers being 4-1. Appreciate y'all. Bolt up.